What's going on, guys? And welcome to our free agency episode of Timeout with uSTADIUM. Lots of things have been happening this week, even though free agency technically only started yesterday afternoon, but whatever. We have a couple orders of business to hit before we actually start the show. First and foremost, huge congratulations to our guy, Hunter Henry, for signing a contract with the New England Patriots. I'm so excited to have him here. It's going to be awesome, but we're so happy for him. We're glad he got paid. We're glad I'm glad he's coming here. And yeah, it's awesome. And we're just really happy for him. So,
shout outs to him. Good job.
Yeah, big shout outs. I'm kind of sad, I will say, because I wanted him to come to the Jets. I mean, we had everything for him. We had the quarterback. We had the wide receivers. We have everything for him. Why did he pick the Patriots? I don't know, but yeah, that was a joke, obviously.
Number two is a little bit more serious. We all know the stuff surrounding Deshaun Watson right now, the civil suits that have been filed, allegations, things like that. I just wanted to let you guys know that we're really not going to talk about that just because it's a little too early. We're not going to be in the business of, victim shaming or saying whether or not this is a smear campaign against Deshaun Watson. That's not our place. So we're going to let this play out. Just like the league is. The league has already opened an investigation. The Texans have released a statement saying that they are going to cooperate with the league. And they have nothing else to say about it. So we are going to do the same and just kind of let this process play out. And as more information comes in and this gets a little more, settled in the ground, then we can, discuss it. But right now it's just too soon. So we're going to just back away from that just a little bit. And that's that. So topic one, winners and losers of free agency thus far. I'm going to throw it to Frankie first. Who do you got?
Well, I don't think there's a bigger winner in this free agency than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, you had guys taking pay cuts, getting less money than they actually deserved, like Shaq Barrett. You kept Chris Godwin on a franchise tag, which I didn't think he would even accept. You even brought your kicker back. Ryan Suckup came back. Gronk came back. Brady signed for another year. I mean, the Bucs, Levante signed. Like, the Bucs literally kept every single piece that they needed to this free agency period. And they're set up to do what they did last year. The only thing in the way between the Bucs winning again or going to the Super Bowl is Brady's age. That cliff will eventually come. It has to. The guy can't play till he's 60. So is it now that he's going to be turning 45? That's the only thing I think separating that team from doing what they did, which is ironic to say because he's the reason that they won the Super Bowl in many ways coming to Tampa. So, but no, Brady and the whole operation they have there. I mean, they kept everyone there. Shaq Barrett got $68 million, should have gotten $80 million plus. Chris Godwin should have gotten a long-term deal. I'm sure Gronk, if he fished around, could have gotten more than $8 million. They did a fantastic job this offseason. I'll be honest, I didn't expect Bruce Arians when he said during the parade that they were going to keep everyone and then they were going to make it happen again. I didn't think it was going to happen, but I was wrong. He made it happen. And the Bucs were the winners of this free agency. And quickly, the big loser, that literally, like, I cannot believe that this team fell this flat on their face during this free agency period. I mean, it's like me on Super Bowl after I had my eight Deepas. It's the Cincinnati Bengals, the Bungles. What in the hell are you guys doing? Honestly, you have Joe Burrow who needs support. You don't bring in anyone offensively outside of Sam J. Pirine. You lose William Jackson. You lose Carl Lawson. And then, yeah, you get Trey Hendrickson, but it's even better than Carl Lawson. So they had an epic fail in free agency. And when you're talking about a first overall pick in Joe Burrow, as good as he is, and he needs support, they blew it. They had an awful free agency. So I think they had the worst free agency out of anyone. And I think the Bucs they blew the doors open on this free agency, even more than the Patriots, which I know Brees going to want to.
We'll get there.
I know. I
like what I almost called them. I like what Washington did, and I can't call them the Washington football team. It just doesn't feel right to say it, but I love William Jackson. He was one of my sleeper, most underappreciated free agents to start going into free agency. I loved what he did, what they did signing him. Lost Ronald Darby, upgraded with William Jackson by far. Love Curtis Samuel. The fit there in Washington is huge. Opposite McLaurin, they could do so much with him. Antonio Gibson. They have a lot of athletic, speedy, like game-breaking players. I love those three together on offense. And I'm not the biggest Ryan Fitzpatrick fan. I still don't think he's going to start for them. I think they're going to either make a trade for somebody or trade up in the draft and land somebody. I don't buy that he's going in there as a starter. I know he heard that, when Dalton went to Chicago, they told him he was a starter. Fitz today said that he wasn't promised a starting job. So I think something else is coming in Washington. So, we'll see where that goes. So, but Fitz is a great guy to have around. He can start. He can be explosive with those guys. So even if he does have to start, even if it is 8-9 games, I think he'll make enough big plays where you will get guys like Samuel, McLaurin, Gibson. Those guys will make some big plays on that offense. So I love what Washington did. They didn't go crazy and spend a ton of money like they would in like the late 90s, 2000s, when Snyder was just throwing money around like nothing, like another team just did in the AFC East we'll get into. But for me, I love that like core of offensive playmakers. They're young. Curtis Samuel's young. William Jackson brings a guy with some experience playing in the league. I know he hasn't really won many games, but he's been so solid for since he plays every game, never gets hurt. So guys like that are super valuable in free agency. For me, the loser, both P teams, the Packers, like they didn't do anything. Again, they signed Aaron Jones. I get it. Lost your starting center. I know they were up against it with the cap. They had to restructure all these deals, and they're going to move on from most of these guys next year, which is going to hurt them. But, Aaron Rodgers, flirts with leaving in the offseason. Remember, after they lost the championship game, the word was maybe he's out of here. Maybe he goes to San Fran. What did you do to improve this team? You couldn't sign Will Fuller for a 1-year, $10 million deal. You can't go out and get Juju Smith Schuster right now to give somebody, opposite of Devontae Adams, like somebody else in the passing game, no tight end upgrade. Like, we're doing this again. If they go into the draft and they don't draft a receiver, or somebody who can, help out Devontae Adams in the draft, they're in the same situation they were last year. So I know you sit here and Aaron Rodgers is like, well, what the hell? I thought you said you were going to fix this team, and here we go. Nothing happened again. So, and then to me, the Patriots, like, I like the two tight ends. I'm not going to, shit on what Belichick did with Hunter Henry and Juju Smith. Put those guys aside. But they came out so fast, and I think more people were just blinded by like the fact that Belichick did this more than they actually sat back and appreciated like what kind of moves are being made, because they weren't any good. Like none of these guys. You lose Joe Thuney, who's by far the best player of any transaction in this Patriot offseason. Joe Thuney is the best player in any transaction. Then you have like Jonnu and Hunter Henry who are there 1 and 2. But losing him, losing your starting center and Andrews, and I know they have young offensive linemen they like that they could just stick in there. Dante Scarnecchia is not there anymore. Tom Brady's not there anymore. I know they're going to get some guys back. We'll see. Patrick Chung retires, whatever. They can replace him. Jalen Mills stinks. Nelson Aguilar stinks. We don't know what Kendrick Bourne is. So to me, like, yeah, they spent a lot and they were active. Henry Anderson is awful, god awful. So when you look at the moves as a whole,
wow,
what did they really do besides just were really active? And I know like a lot of these guys, if they do come in and they aren't any good, you can move on from them. That's fine. Belichick didn't exactly. I know they spent like the second most guaranteed money of all time, but they didn't really improve with really good players. What they did was threw a bunch of shit against the wall, and whatever sticks. But I like the Hunter Henry and Jonnu moves. I think that's going to help the offense a lot. Whoever's playing quarterback, if it's God forbid if it's Cam Newton, or hopefully it is Cam Newton. But what did they do that you sit there and you're like, let's go, man? Like, our receiving core is great. No, it's not.
No.
It's a full of average guys. The Jets maybe have 3 guys that are better than anyone in New England, let's be honest. And running back core, whatever, same group. Lost James White probably. If you're going to bring Fournette in here, I don't think so. I think he goes back to Tampa. But what are you hanging your hat on New England? A 2 tight end set? So, Bri, take the floor. I know you want to answer back.
Okay,
Whoa.
So I was going to start off with who I thought lost free agency in my eyes, because I was going to go off on a tangent, but I didn't expect that. So, as the resident Patriots fan, this is why I am giving them, I'm going to say a solid B+. I'm not going to jump into the A range, because I agree losing both Tooney and Andrews hits pretty hard. Now, we all have agreed multiple times on this show that retaining Tooney was likely impossible. He was set to be the highest paid offensive line in history. He got $80 million from the Chiefs. Bill wasn't going to pay 80 something, whatever. All right.
Yeah,
80,
look at the
85,
guarantees though.
Whatever. Bill wasn't going to pay that amount of money.
It is a lot of money for a guard.
But he would throw $22 million at Nelson Aguilar? Come on.
Okay, but if you look at those contract breakdowns, like it's really not as much as it seems. I
Yeah, but
agree
look
with
at
the whole
Tooney. He's
guaranteed
only
money
making
with Tooney.
$4 against the cap this year. But you could have found a way. And they were it was the Jets, the Pats, and the Chiefs in the hunt for Tooney. Like, make it happen. He's worth it.
I don't know, Nick. PFF had a breakdown about why Tooney was overpaid, and he was a deal that they didn't like. It's a lot of money for a guard,
Sure.
$85 million. So it's not cupcake money. So
no, it's not at all. Sorry, Bri, go ahead.
No, it's okay. And then on Andrews, from what I've heard, is he went in there and he marketed himself to a point that they thought was way too high, which is why they let him go explore the market. Nobody really knows what's happening right there. Nothing has come out since they signed Karras. They only signed Karras for $4 million. And when Karras had to fill in for Andrews, when he was out with blood clots in his lungs, he didn't do that bad. And last year, he was actually graded higher than Andrews. And I know that's a product of the offenses that they were in. You could argue that Miami's offense was way better than the Patriots offense. I get that. But it's not like losing Andrews, and who I love. Don't get me wrong. I love that guy. He's electric. He's good at what he does. He's an incredible run blocker. I love him. Losing him isn't the end of the world for this offensive line. Karras is serviceable at center. You've got Trent Brown. You've got Big Mike, who last year came on as the best graded offensive lineman and one of the best graded rookies. Like this isn't the end of the world for them. If Bill is good at one thing in the draft, it's finding offensive linemen.
Sure. When Scarnecchia was there and Brady, though. That's like, we
but
can't forget about what Tom Brady
says
does.
He's retired, but he's still in the building. He's still on the phone. Like, he's still around. He's not as retired as everybody thinks he is.
Sure. But we can't take from the fact that when Brady was here, the offensive line plays better. Brady's the signal caller. He sees the defense. He adjusts. He changes offensive line formations. Like
he works with the center on blitz pickup.
Exactly. He's just as important as Scarnecchia was, or how Belichick would find offensive linemen. So losing two guys hurts. And Andrews hasn't signed yet, so there is, like you said, the potential for him to come back. So I don't want to just throw him out there. Like you said, Karras is only, I think, guaranteed $4 million. They have plenty of money if they had to bring Andrews back and they just use him as like a rotating guard or extra lineman. Somebody's going to get hurt at some point. To bring Andrews back, I wouldn't rule it out, especially because Miami went and signed the former Ravens interior lineman, the center, Dan Skura. So there's a potential for him to come back. But to me, it was just they were throwing these rose petals at Belichick's feet where it was like, I think they were just more surprised that he did it than actually seeing what he was doing. And that was where my problem was. Plus, I love bringing Van Noy back. I think that was probably the best move that you guys made. So I'll give Belichick credit. They get the comp for him last year for leaving anyway. So that's just one of the Belichick moves where people don't see it really. And then for me, but the receiving core was like, and Cam Newton, like, unless there's another move to be made at quarterback, and I get Cam's only counting $5 million against the cap and, could get up to 14, which there's no way it's going to, let's be honest. But like if these were moves made with Tom Brady here, I'd be scared as a Jet fan. I'd be like, oh shit, like this is a solid roster.
Absolutely.
But to me, there's no glue. There's no glue on that offense. There's no tight end that I'm like, this is the glue guy. There's no running back. Like James White was kind of a glue guy, even though, his role has been decreased over the years, but he was there and you just kind of was like, at least they have James White. If things go bad, you can dump it off. He's a great blocker. He's a great, short yardage back in the red zone, whatever. But there's nobody on that offense where you just like, I have to game plan. Like I know they're going to do with Juju Smith. They're going to do a lot of interesting packages with him and Hunter Henry. They're going to be on the field together all the time. One of them might be in the backfield. But for me, it's like, it feels like just, when you're playing on Madden with no salary cap and you're just trying to like fill like the best guys you can find. And then but ultimately there's no, like I said, there's no glue on that offense. I don't see any structure to it. So unless they go out and they get Jimmy G, who knows? That offense isn't fit for Cam Newton either. Like, he can't get the ball down the field to these guys.
Exactly. I was just going to jump in really quickly. The Nelson Aguilar signing really baffled me, not from a numbers perspective, but from a fit perspective. Nelson Aguilar is a deep threat wide receiver. I said it before when he signed with LA, the Raiders. I said, this is a good signing. Derek Carr has a big arm, puts a lot of air under his deep balls. Aguilar can run.
And track it. That's what he can do.
Can track it and get to it. It makes sense. The GM, Mayock, made a good signing and picked up Aguilar. Yeah, should have kept him. I agree. And he had arguably his best year since what?
Not arguably, season? Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So he did great. Now, the Pats go with Cam Newton, whose arm, as you've seen the last few years, is just it's a noodle. I mean, his arm looks shot. He can't get the ball downfield. He has issues. You bring in Nelson Aguilar, who's legitimately just a deep threat with a noodled arm quarterback. I mean, what is the scouting department doing? If you're making a move like that, then it tells me that maybe there's something wrong or someone in the scouting department isn't seeing.
Or something's coming.
That's what I was going to say. So Greg Bedard, who is not my favorite reporter in the area, but I take what he has to say seriously because he's right more often than not. He said today that the Patriots told Cam when he signed this contract that they're not done making moves at quarterback, and he needs to accept that.
Yeah, the contract tells you that.
Right.
So
right, exactly.
Is it going to be a free agent? I don't know. Is it going to be like Alex Smith is the best one out there? Like, people were rumored to say like Trubisky. I never thought he would bring in Trubisky, but is it going to be? You're going to have to trade up. You have to give a lot to get up in the draft. Are they going to send Gilmore somewhere and bring in a quarterback or get picks at least to move?
You can get some value for Gilmore. That's for sure.
That's another thing that I think people are kind of not really understanding with the move that they did with J.C. Jackson yesterday, placing a second-round tender on him. They're doing that as kind of a scheme for them. If people are calling and offering for Gilmore, then they're going to take that tender off of JC and just extend him. Mm-hmm. If people are going to sign JC off of that tender and get that second round pick back, then they're going to give a little bit more money to Stephon. Like, the way that they're doing this, there's an end game.
There's a bait. They're baiting teams.
Right, exactly.
So here's a second round tender on a guy who tied or second in the league in interceptions last year. He's young. Come and give us a second round pick for him. You can take him. Or we have Stephon Gilmore, a top 5 cover guy in the league. Come and trade for him. So Belichick is trying to play a little chess here, and I can see
either way, they keep.
What are those picks going to go for quarter? Like, you need multiple 1s or 2s to get all the way up from where the Pats are. You know, and Schefter said there's going to be 4 quarterbacks in the top 7 that go.
I don't think they're going to trade up, and I'm tired of seeing people say this. When has Bill Belichick ever traded up?
But when has Bill Belichick ever spent like he just spent this year?
Well, now he has the actual money to do it, and that's another thing. That's another thing that's been driving me nuts, okay? Is people saying, oh, well, now Bill's got all this money, so he's going to spend it. He looks like an idiot. Okay, and when he didn't have this money and you all wanted him to spend, you said he looked like an idiot there too. Mm-hmm. Where can this guy win? When can he win?
I think people fail to realize that the reason the Pats spent all this money was because the Buccaneers and Brady won the Super Bowl. They feel embarrassed that Brady went and won a Super Bowl with the Bucs, so they're unloading everything to try to win next year. They're trying to make the playoffs. It was embarrassing that they didn't make the playoffs. I mean, that's pretty obvious. Kraft sat Belichick down in a meeting and said, we are going to spend a boatload of money, and we better win next year because I cannot see that team with that guy winning again. So they're not trying to have that happen. So
my last 2 points, and then we can move on. They're plugging it into the reporters because that's obviously a big talking point up here. Oh, is Bill just pissed off and he's doing this to get back at Brady? Like, a little bit, yeah. And if you're gonna say no, like, you obviously are just kind of not. I don't want to call you ignorant, but like, you don't get it. This is how this guy operates. You don't think he hears all of the arguments of, oh, well, obviously it was Brady and not Belichick. You don't think he hears that?
Of course.
Come on. And what was my last point? I had a last point and it was a good one. Oh, okay. And go ahead, and then I'll go.
Well, I want to say I'm sorry that you were right with the Thuney contract. It was $80 million.
Thank you.
flat.
What was the guarantees?
I said 85
It
because
was
I felt
48 and a
5
half,
or
I
80.
think.
And
Okay.
I just want to apologize because I know
It's all right.
you can't get Bri mad. And you guys were fighting, by the way. Nick's
I wasn't
fighting
fighting
with
with her.
Bri.
We weren't fighting.
Nick's
That
on the
wasn't a
Twitter uSTADIUM fighting with Bri's account. I'm like, what the
That
hell is
was
going on here?
I've gotten to
We
way
were
worse Twitter
bickering.
fights than that. That was not a fight.
Come on. Come on. I
And
can't-
then my last point, and then we can move on. This team last year was 7-9. And this is a loser mentality in my line, but it's a valid point. A couple breaks go their way. They're 9-7, arguably a wild card team, whatever. You get a full offseason of Cam understanding this system, a full preseason.
Yeah, that I'll give him. Yeah.
A full preseason of him working with this team and not just being signed on at the last minute because it's a desperation move because Jarrett Stidham obviously isn't that guy. Louis Riddick tweeted this one thing out, that the teams who have spent a ton of money, while they may not be good teams like the Jets or the Jaguars, have increased their wins from the year before by an average of 5 games. So 7, let's just give them the benefit of the doubt and say it's 4. That's an 11
If
win
Tom's
team.
coming back.
Nah, I don't. Can everybody just stop talking about Tom Brady on this team? He's
Never.
gone. It's been a full year. He's gone. We get it. Love him to death. He's gone. We can't
That's
judge
right.
what this team does now based on him because
He's
not
long
here
gone.
anymore.
He is long gone.
That's what I have to say about that. Okay, so there's a lot of people still available.
Yeah.
A lot of people that I want. I'm sure there's a lot of people that you guys want. So if you have free agents in mind, make sure that you are commenting in here, and maybe it'll be a rapid fire question after we get our topics done. We have a phone number for you to call in and jump in on the show. So let me read that off to you real quick. It is 678-675-5118.
Toll
If you guys
free.
wanna call
Just
in,
kidding. I don't
join
think it
us.
is.
Yeah.
Everybody has unlimited minutes at this point, don't they?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Oh, we have a
But yeah.
caller, I think.
the phone companies are still trying to get your
That's true.
money though. The fact that, by the way, the fact that we're paying like a few $100 a month for phones is absolutely absurd when Wi-Fi
Cable's
is
the
basically
bigger
free
ripoff.
everywhere. Like if I use WhatsApp and Wi-Fi, what the hell do I need to pay you AT&T for?
Cable's
Anyone-
definitely the
anyone
bigger
understand this?
ripoff, I think.
Well, whatever.
Let's take a call. Ryan, we have a caller?
Yeah, Ryan says we got a call.
Let's do it.
Let's see if we can add him in.
No, we have a caller named Nick.
Oh, we can't allow that. No, I'm just kidding. What's up, Nick?
What's up?
What's,
I'm trying to talk about free agency.
what do you
All
got?
right, go ahead.
Well,
What
you
do
called
got?
the right show, brother.
Yeah, so I was wondering, what are you guys thinking about the Pats?
Were you listening a minute
Did you-
ago?
Did you just miss my whole spiel?
Nah, not really. Like,
So
why? I'm a Bills fan. I don't think the Jets are going to be good with signings. I don't agree with Corey Davis. He's not good.
The thing with
Yeah,
Corey
he's
Davis is
solid.
I'll jump in. Corey Davis isn't a number 1 wide receiver. He's a solid number 2. So if the Jets expect him to be the number 1 guy, he's going to fall flat. But with Denzel Mims and him, you get some value there. So I'm not a big fan of Corey Davis, but he provides value and he has a good deal. It's a good contract. It's nothing crazy.
Well, look at it this way with Michael Floor, too. So he's going to run similar offense to Shanahan did in San Francisco.
Totally.
San Francisco made it to the Super Bowl. They didn't have a number 1 receiver, and they had Jimmy Garoppolo. Obviously, a great running game, great offensive line, and the defense was awesome. But that's the way he runs the – he likes a lot of guys who runs these crossers.
Across the middle. So it's, there's no number 1 guy that you're targeting 15 times a game. You're really spreading
the
the ball
offense more than
Yeah.
a big play guy or a big, number 1.
And Corey Davis is good
quote-unquote.
across the middle. He's not great on the outside. He's not a post corner kind of guy towards the sidelines. Not a lengthy, long receiver, but across the middle, he's strong. So underneath,
Yeah,
he can do
and they
something.
hope Mims is the guy on the outside who's going to be your go up and get it guy. So that's the crux of what the Jets offense is going to look like. And then you have Crowder, if they keep him, who's going to be your underneath guy, your slot receiver. So I get what they're doing. I mean, I could definitely see why people thought like a Galladay would have been a better fit over Corey Davis, but I understand why. And Davis is a great leader, all about football. So, and that's what Joe Douglas likes. But thanks for the call, Nick. Appreciate it, man.
All right, yeah.
That's funny. Because it was funny because his first question, he wanted to know about what we just talked about, but it led into something we're going to get into.
My mic not work? Did I just talk all that time for nobody to hear me?
Are we not live?
Oh my God. All right. So like I said, we have a lot of free agents still available right now for teams to claim. So let's go. I'm going to toss this to Frankie again, just because Nick, we had a little bit of a back and forth there, and he didn't get to chime in as much. So Frankie, who are your favorite free agents that are still on the market?
So I have two guys that I am big on, and one guy that I'm going to throw at Nick, who Nick's hated for years. And this guy is a top 10 player at his position, but I'm going to end with him. Top 10, maybe top 5. And no one's talking about him. No one's signing him. He's top 10 at his position. My first guy, though, is Mitchell Schwartz. Mitchell Schwartz, outside of Ryan Ramczyk, whatever.
I knew you'd have a hard time with that one.
Yeah. Ryan Ramczyk, by the way, Ramczyk, whatever the hell his name is the best right tackle in football. Mitchell Schwartz is not far behind. Those guys are elite at their position. Mitchell Schwartz is 31 years old. He is elite at his position. He's been on winning teams. He didn't allow a sack in 2019, his last full season. Last year he was hurt. He had a back injury that caused him to miss games. And I would just give him a nice short-term deal, pay him heavy up front, but I love him. You're not going to find a right tackle available like Mitchell Schwartz. The only thing you're preying on is that the back injury isn't bad. If it's bad, you may lose out on a year or two of that deal. But if he's okay, he's decent in terms of injury, he'll be able to provide you above average to great value at the tackle position. The other person I like, 31 years old. And 31's not old, by the way. I'm 32, and I'm in the best shape of my life. So you can't be hating on 31-year-olds, all right? They're not old, all right? Yep. 31's the new 21. Let's just be honest here.
Anyway.
Yeah, Brees, look, I disagree with that.
Please, I don't want to get that old.
Oh, man.
Hey, it comes quick. It comes quick. It's not bad. You become smarter, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still waiting a little bit, but, it comes. T.Y. Hilton, I love. And I love him for one reason. T.Y. Hilton is a number one wide receiver. We were just talking about Corey Davis not being necessarily a number one wide receiver. T.Y. Hilton is a number one wide receiver. Granted, he's not an elite number one wide receiver anymore, but he gets the job done. He can come into any situation. And just imagine if T.Y. Hilton's your second or slot receiver. I mean, he can add tremendous value there. He had an exceptional second half of the season. He was playing with Rivers, who was at the end of his career and ended up retiring. So I am a big T.Y. Hilton fan. I think any team that gets him gets tremendous value. He can be the one. He could be a really good two, and he could be an awesome slot guy or third receiver. I mean, it's a no-brainer for me to want to bring him in for a few years.
Wake up, Packers.
Seriously, I don't understand. The guy can play. I mean, he's last year, I have a stat here. Last year, 42 out of his 56 receptions went for first downs or touchdowns. I mean, he was awesome at points last year. So big fan of his. And my sleeper free agent, top 10 running back in the NFL that nobody talks about, the disrespect that this guy gets. And at me about this guy. I want you to at me about this guy. Chris Mother effing Carson is a top 10 running back in the NFL. He gets another, running back available throughout this entire free agency will give you. Literally. He's a better on-the-ground runner than even Aaron Jones is. Granted, he's not good in the, catching balls, but Chris Carson's awesome on the ground. If he stays healthy, you'll get tremendous play. Why haven't the Patriots called him up? Why haven't the Jets? Why haven't teams? I don't know. Any team, the Packers should give him a call and maybe not have paid Aaron Jones. I love Chris Carson. I think he's extremely undervalued. His PFF stats speak for themselves. He's been awesome. He had a 78 rating last year, 78 the year before, and 83 the year before. I mean, what else do you want from a guy? If he stays healthy, he's top 10 running back, maybe top 5.
You got the hospital club, all three of those guys.
Yeah,
Mitchell Schwartz might retire too. That's
You're
another
right.
thing.
You know what? It's medicine these days.
Yeah.
You know, you tear an Achilles, and a year later you're doing what Durant's doing. You know, it's all right. It's 2021, Nick.
You went the vet route. I respect
trust
it.
the
You love the
signs,
vets.
all right?
You've gone on, I think, on every free agent question that we've had. I think you went the veteran route each time, right?
I think I've said like the last 15 free agents have all been veterans.
Yeah.
and probably 12 of them are going to get hurt, honestly, when the careers are over.
I mean, dude, if Mitchell Schwartz is healthy and he wants to play this year, like, there's no reason why one of these competitive, these teams that think that they can get to the Super Bowl this year should not be signing him already. I think something has to be up. Like, either he's going to take a shorter term deal to return to the Chiefs or something, or he's not going to play. Something's got to be up with him because he is too good to still be available if he wants to play and he's healthy. So I think, with a back injury, it's so risky. But my three guys, I love Anthony Harris. I don't know how he's not signed yet. Safeties, I know, are not they're valuable, but they're not these, top tier positions, impact positions, if you want to call them that. But I think he is one of the best players in free agency. I think he was, I believe, our 5th or 6th ranked from the start, not just now. Right now, he's our number 1 available free agents. Why is Dallas not banging down the door for this guy? I don't understand that. Number 2, Kenny Golladay. He's our number 2 available free agent. He is flirting with a bunch of teams. We heard he met with the Bears last night out of nowhere. That I don't know what that deal is. Now what's going to happen with Allen Robinson? Does that mean they're going to rescind his tag? Or are they going to trade him? Because you're not going to pay the both of them. They can't. They don't have the cap room. They're shopping Akeem Hicks and Kyle Fuller in order to even just afford the Allen Robinson tag. So I don't know what's going on there. But Kenny Golladay is a beast. He's a bottom tier number 1 receiver in my opinion, but he's definitely a number 1 receiver. Big plays in Detroit. The thing that I'm hearing why teams really want to meet with him, because he really is the only guy that you're hearing is meeting with teams, is they have questions why he missed those games last year. They don't know if he purposely sat out to get to free agency quicker, to not risk an injury in free agency. They were questioning whether that hip injury should have kept him out for as long as it did. So teams want to, question his love for the game, obviously, and if that was a true thing, if he really sat out games in order to get to free agency, because, when you're questioning the guy's character, and that's why I think the Bears, the Giants, and even the Bengals, who are all rumored to be in on him, want to meet with him. That to me is a red flag, the character concern. So again, if not, he should have been the first receiver off the board, and probably the Lions would have tagged him. But Lions just signed Rashad Perriman, a former Jet too, as I said that. But and number 3, my top free agent I have is Adoree Jackson, young, 25 years old, outside cover guy. Since 2018, he's the 4th ranked corner. When targeted, I believe. Yeah, look at Splash. He's on his game. I never want to hear you rip Splash again, Frank. Highest coverage grade when lined up at outside corner. He's not a little slot guy. Kwan Williams is still there. Brian Poole, Desmond King. Number 4, Jair Alexander. Throw that up against Splash. It's Jair, Sherman. There was a third. I forget.
Gilmore.
Stephon Gilmore. And 4th is Adoree Jackson, 25 years old. Special teams, can return kicks, freakishly athletic and quick. He should sign quick. He should get a multi-year deal. I don't think he's signing for a 1-year deal. To me, if I'm the Jets, he would be my number 1 target in free agency right now. If it follows the trend of what what Joe Douglas is looking for, young, ascending players, not guys who've had their best years and are on the decline, not guys who are at like 29, 30, 31. To me, Adoree Jackson is the best defensive, secondary. Well, besides Anthony Harris, he's my 2nd ranked available free agent on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, he is like freakishly athletic, and he brings you value on special teams. He can cover your number 1 receiver. He can run with anybody, as you see. He's running with the fastest receiver right here in Tyreek Hill. So I think he is a must sign for anybody who needs any secondary help.
Yep. So you guys, my top 3 are all pass catchers. You took my first 2, obviously, with Hilton and Golladay. This might be just because of the team I'm a fan of, but I think James White is going to end up in Tampa. And if he doesn't, I don't understand why teams wouldn't,
Love White.
reach out for him. I don't get it. I don't understand why.
Yeah, I mean, he brings everything, right? He can block, he can catch the ball, he can run, he's a great leader.
I know it was a few years ago, but that Super Bowl against the Falcons,
It was MVP.
Easily could have won MVP.
The thing with James White is he's a fit guy. He's got to go to a team that can utilize him correctly. He's not an every down running back.
There are a few that can.
But he's someone that you're going to need a quarterback that is a guy more of a dink and dunk underneath kind of guy. You need a good offensive coordinator that knows how to use him. If you have a team like the Lions, for example, that you're just going to sign him, James White, what is he going to do? You don't have the creativity on offense. You don't have the quarterback that understands how to get him the ball. Like, for example, a quarterback, just off the top of my head, not Brady, but let's say Drew Brees and a guy like James White makes sense. Drew Brees knows how to do the dink and dunking or fake a screen this way and get the guy coming, out of the backfield. So like he does with Alvin Kamara. So people, I think that's something with football, not to like try to get too in depth about it, but it fits work. Like Alvin Kamara works with Drew Brees. He may not work Alvin Kamara with Ryan Tannehill for, whatever reason. And Derrick Henry might not work with the Saints. I mean, sometimes fits matter more than anything. So
you want to know where,
especially the running back position.
You want to know where I think he might fit, and this just popped in my head, and it makes me sick.
The New York Jets.
No,
the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I can see that.
I could.
That'd be disgusting.
Speaking of, James Conner isn't getting any hype on. It's crazy how far he's fallen. I remember 3 years ago he was, one of the top running backs in football, and now it's like he can't even get a 1-year deal.
It's crazy. Also, going back to our first topic, because I got way too into it with my Patriots takes, I forgot to mention who I think is losing free agency right now, and that would be, even though on the PFF index it says they improved, I highly disagree, the Chicago Bears.
Yeah,
I don't care what you do. If you have a quarterback competition between Andy Dalton and Nick Foles, don't talk to me.
That is not a competition.
And with that being said,
it's a sideshow.
We are going to move on.
And they told, I don't want to pick on
make sure I got that out there.
Because remember when they had, I think it was Mike Glennon when the Bears signed him a couple years ago, and they said he's the, Mike Glennon's the starter. They had him at the draft party, and then they go and they draft Mitchell Trubisky that day, and then Glennon's sitting there like. So Dalton says the Bears said he's the starter, and
it's amazing. One of the most like storied franchises in the league.
Can't get it right.
Can't get it right at the most important position in sports.
This is my favorite meme ever. I love this. Like whoever thought of this and put it together is like a genius, honestly. This is like perfectly done. This is the best meme ever, especially of the year.
What's funny about memes is like nobody knows who really made them. There's so many meme accounts, and like they steal memes all the time, and they never give credit for it. It's like you never know where it originated from. Like you'll never, like the NFL memes accounts, they steal memes all the time, and they just like reshare them.
They just share. They steal and share amongst each other. That's
like you can never know who really made it,
and they'll slap their tag on it too. Yeah. They'll legitimately steal a meme, throw their tag, like Photoshop the tag out and throw it on. I know because I've done it before. I've done it.
All right.
We did it a few times in the past. And I felt so guilty doing it. I'm like, not with a meme, maybe like another picture. I'm like, I don't think you feel guilty after. This isn't my work.
So I've seen this question in the comments probably 15 times since we went live. So I feel like we should finally just give people what they want and talk about it.
People asking you for single, Bri?
No, it's not this question. No. Not tonight, actually. They're pretty calm tonight, which is nice. Yeah. The big question amongst you Jets fans is that of Juju Smith Schuster. Where's he going? What's he doing? Rumors are that he's meeting with the Jets, although the Jets just signed Corey Davis and Keelan Cole. They just got rid of Rashad Perryman, obviously.
Ruins my day.
What are they?
I'll hop in here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was told before free agency when everybody was trying to link Juju to the Jets that the Jets were not interested in Juju Smith Schuster at the top of the market price. So they were not going to go out and sign Juju, run to Juju and throw him all this money as their number one guy. Clearly they did, and Corey Davis was the guy they wanted. Juju's market is not evolving, obviously, as he's still sitting there trying to put teams up against each other. What they did was, I'm sure it was a play from an agent to Rappaport, leak the Jets out there. He probably wants to go back on a 1-year deal to Pittsburgh and then retest the market next year. Probably trying to get Pittsburgh to up it another $2-3 million. They're up against the cap. They would probably need to do some restructuring to make it fit. But I was told the Jets did not have any interest in him to start. When it leaked today, I even said, I don't know about this. Like, I was told this was not what they were into. Maybe if his market is really low, or if he would take a deal where it would pay him like 9, 10, 11 million dollars, they don't have to guarantee him anything crazy, or if he would come on a 1-year deal like they just gave Keelan Cole. They would probably give him more like a 9, 10, 11. They gave Cole, I think, $5.5 million, but I don't see it going. I don't see him going to the Jets, especially now with Keelan Cole. To me, I think he ends up back in Pittsburgh if they can make it work on a 1-year deal and he comes back next year. Why not try and take a 1-year deal with the Packers?
He's not
going to go to free agent.
Pittsburgh.
No, I mean,
he's not, Nick. Pittsburgh's done with him, man. It's over.
So. I don't think
that relationship's broken. It's done.
It's about the money. They just don't have the money. They want to keep him. They just don't have the money.
I don't think it's about that. I think it's about some of his off-field antics, and dancing and the TikToking and all that BS. I mean, I don't even think that's that big of a deal, but I think with an organization like the Steelers and how they like to portray themselves, and they're a very much like an old school kind of franchise, I just think he wasn't productive enough for them to want to keep him. Now you have Claypool and Deontay, who are really, really good, and you don't need him anymore. And they're not going to – he's looking for money, Juju. He's fishing around. I mean, I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
So, but Pittsburgh's not going to pay him more than whoever team 2 is or 3 at this point. So,
but the market is just not there for these receivers to cash in on a multi-year deal. So he's going to be looking for a 1-year deal. To me, it's either Pittsburgh or a team like Green Bay, somebody with an elite quarterback, a needed receiver where you can go put up big numbers, hit the market next year coming off a year, let's say, because he is productive, Juju. I don't want to say he's not. He is a good receiver. To me, he's not a number 1, but he is a quality receiver. And I would take him on my team because I think he is good and he can bring a lot of value. But why not go to a team like Green Bay play with Rodgers, get your 1,200 yards, your 8, 9 touchdowns, and then hit the market again. He's young. He's 24 years old. Hit the market at 25 coming off a 1,200-yard year. Get your $13, $14 million a year on a 4-year deal and you're set. It makes no sense to me for Juju to go to a bad team, even like the Jets, for him to go for a 1-year deal. It never made any sense. You want to go where you can be the main, or maybe not the number 1 guy, but a guy who can benefit from a number 1 like Adams and see a lot of single coverage and not get all that, all the defense is focusing on you. He will in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, I know Claypool makes big plays, but Juju's a guy who you have to all right, Juju, I don't want him to beat me underneath, pick up first downs, etc. I would go to Green Bay on a 1-year deal if I were him.
Well, the thing is, and that'd be a great signing, a great place for him. But if you look at teams, Nick, that have the money to spend, the Jaguars, the Colts, the Panthers, the Broncos, the Chargers. I mean, wouldn't the Chargers be a good fit for him? Go play with Herbert. Go to a team that can really feature you with a great quarterback up and coming. So, yeah. But on to this question. I posted this on uSTADIUM. Can Juju Smith Schuster be a legit number 1 wide receiver? My answer is yes, he can, because he has been. There are not wide receivers in the NFL today that had a year like Juju had in 2018. I know AB was around and helped with the coverage, but when you catch 111 passes for 1,426 yards and 7 touchdowns, he had 9 touchdowns last year. His first year in the NFL, he had 917 yards as a rookie. Juju Smith can be a legitimate number 1 wide receiver. Is he a top 5 or 10 wide receiver? No. But he can be a legitimate number 1. He knows how to play. He had a little bit of injury issues the last few years. I think an offseason where he can reflect, take a step back, look at himself mentally, physically, get himself right. I think he can be a legit number 1. He's still young. He's 24 years old. So he's got a long future ahead of him. And for the production that he's had his first 4 years in the NFL, at 24, you're talking about 3,726 yards, 308 receptions, 26 touchdowns. I mean, Juju's been extremely productive. He's a legitimate number 1 wide receiver in my book. I just think if you sign him, you're going to get a number 1 wide out, not a number 2 or a slot. He's a number 1 wide receiver in my book.
Yeah, I think he's just a notch below. I think those stats are inflated in a pass-heavy offense. Ben throws the ball 60 times a game. Like you said, he benefited from Antonio Brown in 2018, I think it was, and has not come close to kind of touching those numbers since Stevie, the focus goes on you. You get the number one corner. Marlon Humphrey is looking at you, not Antonio Brown twice a year. So to me, I like him. I don't think he's a number one, but I think and I don't get like so tied into these like number one, number two labels. If you can play and you can be productive, I don't care. Like, just come and play. Like, what number one receiver has won a Super Bowl for a team? Like, you got to have a good unit. If you have a number one receiver and have somebody terrible on the opposite, what good does that do? It's like you need a 3-4 deep who can step up and play 900 yards here, 600. It's like what the Panthers did. I know the offense wasn't great. 2,000-yard receivers. Curtis Samuel had 850. Like, I like an offense like that where you can do and then use the tight end through there, have a better running game. I don't get like so infatuated by like the number one receiver. I think there's like 3 or 4 like number one elite receivers, and he's definitely not in that conversation for me.
The thing with Juju, though, is he was at a disadvantage in that system with that quarterback play that Pittsburgh's given in the last few years. I mean, last year was a disaster, or 2 years ago, Mason Rudolph. Last year, Ben was not Ben necessarily. They had no running game. They've been having issues on the offensive line. So Juju's really been at a disadvantage with that entire system. That system's not what it was. When it was what it was in 2018, you're looking at a year like he had. I think if he goes to a place that can run some legitimate plays for him and has a running game, I think the Panthers or the Colts make a lot of sense. I think if Juju goes
Colts
to the Panthers,
would be great.
Colts would be excellent for him. You look at what they have there with their running game, with their offensive line, with their creativity, with Reich and with Wentz coming in. I think the Colts would be awesome. I think the Panthers could be really good for him. The Chargers. So Juju goes somewhere good. It's big though. Like, he has to make a decision too where he's going to go. He can make a great move or he can make a bad move. I think him going to a place like the Jaguars, if Trevor Lawrence isn't who we think he is or something, or they don't have the stability in their coaching staff to be able to nurture this guy, he might phase out and never reach his potential. So it's a big offseason for Juju. I don't know what the market is. I have no idea. I've heard various things, but
not great. Supposedly.
Yeah, he should get more money than Corey Davis, though, shouldn't he? And Curtis Samuel.
Yeah.
Like, the Steelers aren't going to pay him that, so shouldn't he get more than those guys, I would say?
Yeah, I think it has to do a lot with, like you said, like the system fit where you're going to play. He is a slot receiver, his primary position. And you're looking at a really good slot draft and also a good receiver draft overall. So that also, deflates the market a little bit for these receivers. So it was a good class. Kenny Golladay, we'll see where his numbers land, obviously, but I think the fact that it's a really good draft class coming in, teams, and obviously with the COVID year and the cap going down, I don't think teams want to really throw so much money at a guy like Juju or, even a guy sitting like Golladay out there right now. Unless this guy is going to fit into my offense perfectly, like Corey Davis did with the Jets, and like they think Samuel will in Washington, like that's why these guys are still out there. And they're not a character concern, but there's an immaturity concern with him and Golladay. That's why they're still there. You don't have that with Samuel and Corey Davis.
I think the Packers would be a good fit for him. I think he benefits from having another good receiver with him, like 2018 when he had AB.
They won't put up with this shit. The immaturity.
Rodgers. Okay, I'm not the biggest Aaron Rodgers fan. We all know this.
Mm-hmm.
He's thrown his young receivers under the bus before. You're telling me Juju goes out there and does a little TikTok?
He would not do that there.
On the field, you don't think Rodgers would just absolutely shun him out of the offense that very same game?
Yeah, and people were saying, like,
he got that out of his system. That would be a good fit for him.
Yeah.
Aaron's no fun. Aaron Rodgers, like, he'd be the last quarterback in the NFL I'd want to go to, like, Cancun with. Like, that'd be the last person. Aaron Rodgers is, like, the most boring quarterback.
I feel like he could booze, though.
He doesn't know how to chug a beer. What do you mean he can booze?
No, really? I never saw that before. Wow,
there's a video of him and Bakhtiari.
Bakhtiari
at a Bucs game.
I think
Bakhtiari's like slamming him left and right. Aaron Rodgers takes 2 sips and just is like, yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, doesn't he seem to me, I mean, not to get into Aaron Rodgers talk, but he does seem a little bit like always kind of miserable, I think. I don't think he like enjoys, I don't know if I don't know if it's where he lives or Green Bay or maybe the way that his coaching staff's been. compiled, but
seem
he
happy.
doesn't seem happy for the
That is a
most
great
part.
stat. That's a producer splash stat right there. With AB in Pittsburgh, Juju had 10 100-yard games. Without him, just 2. So
It's an interesting piece of this puzzle with him. This guy, I don't know if he could be your number 1, but he could be a nice 1B to a 1A. So
sure.
So we'll
Anthony
see.
Rocco says Galladay was the only true number 1 in this free agency class. He's the best one out, and he's still available, though. What does that tell you?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was Diana Rossini who tweeted something that she was in contact with a free agent wide receiver, and she just asked what the market's like. He goes, it's absolutely awful.
Yeah.
So that might be a reason why they're concerned about their character issues, but it might just be that because of the cap number this year and the COVID shit, all of this stuff, it just messed up.
And Will Fuller had to take a 1-year heavily incentivized deal with Miami. So that's another top receiver on the market who went.
Yep. I don't know.
I'm actually pretty surprised. I thought it would be a higher market for these wideouts. Lower than I thought.
Make sure you guys are writing your questions in the comments. We are going to do this. We have one more topic that we're just going to kind of gloss over real quick because not all 3 of us are real college basketball fans, so we're just going to wing it.
Yes,
did you just speak for me?
I did.
Did you just assume Frank's interest?
Yes, I am
Luca's
a huge
crying
college basketball fan. See, Luca's crying. Me and Luca watch college basketball together. All right.
I said not all 3 of us, so that could mean you.
Luca's the one drinking when they hang out too.
Yeah.
So we obviously March Madness and everything is going on. It's starting tomorrow, right? Frankie said first real games are tomorrow.
Yeah, games start tomorrow.
Right.
Yes.
So we picked our Final Fours respectively, and mine is. I don't think it's bad. I have one pick in there that's just because it's where I'm from. Other than that, I think I've watched maybe all of 4 seconds of college basketball this year. Let's put that out there first. But I think the teams that I've put down based on like ESPN highlights and shit like that, I think they're pretty good. So I will go last because I kind of want to hear what you guys have first to see if I'm right or wrong. So Frankie, apparently our resident college basketball guy, you can go first with your Final Four.
All right, I'm about to win people some money. Who wants to win some money? Who wants to make it rain out there? All right, we're going to win some money right now. This is the Frankie Money segment. I am going to give you guys Final Four. I guarantee 3 of these people, these teams, will be in the Final Four. I call them people. All right. In the West, we will have everyone's picking Gonzaga. Gonzaga blows it every year. Gonzaga can't get it done. Gonzaga's like, the good-looking girl that starts crying midway through the party because not enough people are talking to her. You got to go with Kansas. You go with you go.
Don't they always blow it?
No, they're not going to blow it
for me 1 year.
They have an easy road. They're playing Eastern Washington. Then they have to play USC. You get all the punks like Sanchez and Darnold from USC, so you'll wipe them off the floor. Then you're going to get Oregon or Iowa. Come on, it's Kansas all the way. They'll meet Gonzaga in the Elite Eight, and they're gonna win you some money. So put some money on the Big K. So put some money on Kansas. Always can't go wrong. Now we're going to go to the East. Alabama is cleaning up this year, so I'm not going to get too much into it. But you got Bama. Now they are playing a Westchester team, Iona, which I'm from Westchester. I like Iona, and I want Iona to win, but it's going to be Alabama. I have Alabama in the East. In the Midwest, we have it's a competitive bracket there. I am going to go with the team that has the number 1 pick in the upcoming NBA draft, Cade Cunningham with Oklahoma State. Go with Oklahoma State. I will say that. Just make sure you go with them because they have the number 1 pick in the draft, and that's how college basketball works. Sometimes if you can get far enough, you have that person carrying you, a la Steph Curry.
What a year that was, 2008. That was awesome.
Davidson, right?
Yep.
Yeah. If you ever want to satisfy yourself, go on YouTube and go look at some Steph Curry, Davidson, or you can check out our boy.
That's what you use to satisfy yourself?
Yeah, or the Jets hub. That's our guy. Michael, call in, by the way. I want to speak with you. I have a bone to pick, Mike, so call in.
Yeah,
please.
so do I.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm Team Mike.
In the South, We have the school that I went to, Colgate, baby.
They're in it?
Number 2. They're second in points per game, Nick. They're second in points
what are
per
they?
game.
What seed?
They're 14, but they're gonna clean up. They're gonna beat Arkansas, Colgate. We're eating this year. 15. We're gonna beat Arkansas. Then we're gonna beat Texas Tech. Then we're gonna beat Ohio State, and we're gonna lose in the Elite Eight to the best team in college basketball this year, which is Baylor. Best shooting team, Baylor. So I have Baylor, I have Oak State, I have Alabama, and I have Kansas. There's your Final Four. Book it, and your Cinderella.
I'm going with West Virginia because Kevin Pittsnoggle is a legend. That's my only reason. I know he's not on the team anymore, but that's my guy.
That's who you have winning the whole thing?
Nick,
Yeah,
get
West
Luke
Virginia.
on. Let's see what Luca. Luca, come over here.
Luca, come here one sec. Luca. I don't think he wants to. Oh, come here. Come here.
Put him on.
Come on.
Luca.
Yeah. What's up, buddy?
Say hi. Say hi.
Luca.
He's
Say
like,
hi.
back.
Who does Luca have?
Yay. Luca, what team do you like? No answer. He's like me. He doesn't watch.
Yeah.
All right.
He likes the
mine.
microphone.
I think based on the comments, mine isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So this is my Final Four. I have Gonzaga. I know, Frankie, like you said, they choke it every year. They're supposed to be this great team every year. They're supposed to win it all every year, whatever. I know that. My dad bitches about it all the time. I know. I have UConn because I'm from Connecticut, big UConn Husky fan my entire life. They're back, which is great. And that's my reasoning for that. I have Illinois just because I think it's their center. What's his last name? Like Cockburn or something like that. Kofi. He's good. I like him.
That sounds very
We got to check in with Ryan on that. He knows.
I think that's his
Ryan,
name.
what's his name?
Yes, she's right.
We should have brought Ryan. What are we doing? Bring Ryan in and get me and Brianna out of here for this. Ryan, plug your March Madness show, please.
Wait, and then I've got Purdue. Okay, so it's Gonzaga, UConn, Illinois, Purdue. That's my Final Four.
Ryan, plug the show quick. No? Hey, you had your chance.
Wow,
Go check out uBracketology. Check it out on YouTube. My boy Alec, my boy Jacob, we broke down the bracket, all 68 teams. The tournament started technically today, but go check it out, and you're going to win some money if you follow our picks.
Nice. When do the brackets have to be in by?
Brackets need to be in by about noon tomorrow, or if you're in the beautiful state of Arizona, 9 a.m.
All right.
All right, Splash. Okay, so while we have you here, is my Final Four like decent?
I mean, I'm a UConn fan, so I love
we know
the UConn
this.
pick,
We
of
know
course. I lean with Gonzaga. I'll take Florida State over Alabama in the Elite Eight. I like the Illinois pick, and I'm rolling with Arkansas over Baylor.
Mitchell says,
All right, so I'm 3 for 4 right there.
Pronounced Coburn.
Yeah, it's pronounced Coburn.
How's that possible? How do you have a
I know,
silent
right?
CK?
His family absolutely changed that. They definitely went and made sure it wasn't pronounced Cockburn.
I never would have guessed. I got his first name right though, right? I pronounced it right?
Yes.
I hope. Okay. I hate when people pronounce names wrong. That's like just one of my biggest pet peeves. Okay, I guess. All right. So maybe I'll fill out the bracket I was supposed to fill out yesterday tonight. And
you have to fill it out. Tonight's the last night. You only have one night to do it. That's it.
I'm going to do one,
right.
and I'll send it
I'm
to
sold.
you, Ryan. Let me know how it is.
all right. So we've got a little bit of time left for comment questions. So we're going to do a quick rapid fire. If you have questions, even if you've already asked them before and we just kind of missed them, repeat them. And then Splash will do what he does and pull them up, put them on the screen, and we'll give you our best answer. Hopefully, maybe. I saw one about Pat's QB situation that I want to touch on if we can find it. Yeah, Luca. There we go. All right, Patriots predictions for week 1 at the quarterback. So as things stand right now, it's going to be Cam. Jarrett Stidham sucks. It's not going to be Brian Hoyer. Brian Hoyer is going to be lucky if he's on the team in the next 2 weeks.
Jimmy G? Lucas says Jimmy G.
Yeah.
Trey Lance. That's their guy.
If they
Been their
make if they make a move, I don't think they're going to trade for Jimmy. They don't think they're going to trade for Deshaun Watson. So I'm thinking draft, and even still, I think it's going to be Cam, and I think they're going to let the kid sit behind him for a year. Maybe if he shows out in training camp, then they let him start. But I think the odds of that happening are a little lower than the odds of Cam starting. So I'm going to run with that. We'll see. I feel like this is not like a set in stone
do you trust
situation
Cam
whatsoever.
Do you trust Cam? If you had to say right now, would you rather go with Cam for a year, or would you rather draft a rookie and go with a rookie that you're going to draft, not someone in the top 10, let's just say a Trey Lance or someone maybe later on, a Mac Jones? Would you rather Mac Jones, Trey Lance, or Cam Newton for a year? If you had to
Honestly
say
and truly, I'm sick of hearing about Mac Jones because I've seen way too many people make Tom Brady comparisons, and I think that's like sacrilege.
Yeah, you can't make Tom Brady comparisons with anyone.
People have done it. It's disgusting. I think
It's
I think the only
disgusting.
reason why I'm not completely writing Cam off is because of the situation that he had last year. He got brought in at like the last second. He didn't really have a lot of time. COVID, I mean, this has kind of been my thing with him. Whether he had symptoms or not, your body is still fighting a virus. COVID can mess you up. Eddie Rodriguez, pitcher for the Red Sox, had to miss the entire season last year because he had myocardiopathy. What the hell is it called? Where your heart swells.
Yeah,
Whether you have
I
symptoms or
remember
not,
that.
your body is still actively fighting a virus. You don't know what the side effects of that are. He may have got shortness of breath quicker than, I'm not making excuses for the guy. It's facts. Jason Tatum saying that he's dealing with the same thing right now when he had COVID like a month and a half ago.
Dan, what happened with that COVID up in the Boston area? It was pretty bad.
It was bad here for a while.
Yeah.
I'm not writing him off. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to let him.
I hope he starts
until
too.
it's his. It's not. Let's just put it that way.
Worst free agency signing so far? I like that one. I have two guys.
That's a good one.
Besides for Andy Dalton to start, because that's too easy. I don't like Patrick Peterson, $10 million to play guaranteed in Minnesota. I don't know. I just think the guy is shot, and I don't like AJ Green to the Cardinals. It's just a weird fit for me. So those are two. He got up to $8 million too to be like the number 4 option in Arizona. I didn't love those two moves.
I'm going to go a little bit against the grain here. Everyone's been talking about this signing. Bri, I'm really going to tick you off right now. I just don't think Juju Smith is worth $50 million on a deal. I just don't. He had, 480 yards last year. He had 440 yards the year before. If you knew you were getting Hunter Henry, or you had an idea you were, I get you want to do the 2 tight end set, but you're literally putting over $80 million in 2 tight ends, and one of them, Jonnu, hasn't really proven that he's going to be able to fit a system. So I just think you really paid Juju Smith a lot of money. I mean, like Carl Lawson, William Jackson, Hunter Henry, Corey Davis, Curtis Samuel, these guys, Shaquille Griffin, they all got more money than less money, than Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith got almost as much money on a total deal as Matt Judon, which they ended up getting. But I'm saying, like, is the value there from a tight end who's never eclipsed 600 yards receiving? It's risky. That's all I'm saying. I think you could maybe find that value somewhere else in a tight end. Look at Jared Cook. Jared Cook, how much better is Jonnu Smith? I get long-term he's better, but Jared Cook, his value with a team for a year is maybe worth more than Jonnu Smith in terms of all he can do. And Cook got $6 million?
I think you're paying Jonnu for what he can do. I don't think you're paying him. And that's when you usually succeed in free agency, is when you pay a guy for what you hope he's going to do for you rather than what he's done already. He's a young guy. And like I said, and the reason why in the free agency preview that we did, I said I really like Jonnu is because he was in a very run-heavy offense. If you put him in an offense where they're going to feature the tight end, although I don't know if Cam Newton and the Pats can, or I know they will, but can they? I know it sounds weird, but they want to do it, but can they do it with Cam? I don't know, but we'll see. But how didn't we mention, Frank, the Raiders and what they did with their offensive line? I mean, like, their bread and butter was Gabe Jackson, Trent Brown. I know he's been banged up and he went to the Pats. Rodney Hudson, I know they brought Incognito back, but like, they gutted their entire offensive line, and now they're signing guys like Nick Martin to come in and play center. They paid Good, the other interior lineman. Like, what are they doing? Like, what is Derek Carr saying right now?
It's insanity. I mean, look, they just paid Kenyon Drake that much money too.
It's like
you pay a guy who's going
to pay the running back. Who does that?
You pay a running back that's going to need a great offensive line, and you gutted your whole
Raiders
offensive line.
are just a disaster. I'm sorry.
I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, I have no idea. I mean,
John Gruden is the most overrated coach in the history of the NFL. I'm sorry. I've said it for the longest time, and everybody wants to go crazy about this guy. He's a much better broadcaster than he is a head coach.
I don't know. What about Mayock? It might be more Mayock, Nick. These guys
but
who's
Gruden's
these draft
paid
analysts.
$100 million. It's Gruden. Mayock's a guy they brought in off the TV, didn't have any, experience. Gruden's this historic coach, this figure with the Raiders. What he says goes, man. Mayock obviously has says he's the scouting eye, but it's all what Gruden wants there, man. If it's not, then what the hell is he doing there? And what are you doing paying him $10 million a year?
Oh my God. All right.
They're the
You
biggest
got any more,
losers.
Splash?
Not about anybody else.
I think there's a few more in there that we can find. Last.
Probably last.
Fifth.
No, I don't think the Dolphins are any good, to be honest with you. I think it'll be third or fourth. I think the Bills are the class of the division. I think the Pats will win 8 to 9 games. I think the Dolphins will probably win 7, and the Jets will probably win 5 or 6.
It depends who the quarterback is, though. That's the big question. If we get to Deshaun Watson, they're not going to finish fourth.
They're not getting Watson.
Nah, you never know. And right now, with what's going on, it seems like maybe the availability. But yeah, I honestly, what's going on right now, I have no idea. Nobody knows. We spoke about this earlier in the show. I don't think we understand the full complexity of this, but it is getting pretty serious right now. The NFL is doing their own investigation. So at this point, it looks like they're going to look into this matter because it's not one woman, female therapist, massage therapist. It's now up to 9. Now, this lawyer does have ties directly to the McNair family with past stuff he's done. I have no idea. I'm just giving the facts on this. But a team like San Francisco, the 49ers, some of these elite teams, they're going to think maybe twice right now about getting Watson. So it helps a team like the Jets. But again, these allegations are bad. So you don't want this in any, you don't want this happening in any situation. It's a bad look for the NFL. It's a bad look for Deshaun. We'll see what happens, but yeah.
Yep.
Best player in the tourney. Splash is Cade Cunningham. I say Kevin Pittsnoggle. Frank,
whoever's Colgate's starting shooting guard. I have no idea who he is, but he's the
Anthony
best.
DiBiase.
Anthony DiBiase.
Oh my God. Why am I not surprised? The kid from UConn. What
That works.
Book right? What's is that? Was that his name?
Oh, I've heard of him. Yeah. I like Cock.
Yeah, Splash. That's him.
Yes, James Bouknight.
I don't know. I mean, I couldn't tell you 2 things about him. I got shown a dunk that was pretty sick, and now I'm riding the UConn train. Go Huskies. And that's pretty much it. So that's the extent of my college basketball. I haven't watched since Kemba played at UConn, so that's
Me too, I think.
that's a long time ago. So I'm more of a UConn women's fan. So that's that. All right. I think we've talked enough. I think people have listened to us for enough amount of time to get sick of us. So we should probably end the show here. Anybody?
No, I have one last thing to say. For all my people in New York City, you have to meet me one day. I will buy you. If you're in New York City, I will buy you a chicken cutlet sandwich from Cutlets & Co. That's all I need. I haven't shouted them out. New York City, first person to email me. My email is f@ustadium.com. It's FU. I did it on f@u, f@ustadium.com. It is at Frankie on the app. It is at Frankie Vitz on Twitter, NIG. Don't Instagram DM me though. My Instagram DMs are off the chains. I can't write. I don't know where. I can't read them anymore.
Tell me about it, Frank. Tell me about it.
But hit me up seriously. If you're in New York City, we'll meet up. We'll get some food. Food on me, aka the company. But yeah, come meet me and we'll get some food. But yeah, shout outs to Cutlets & Co. They've been a great supporter. And once everything gets back to normal, we're gonna try to throw some little draft party in the area like we used to do back in the day when people don't know this, but we had a draft party a long time ago. We had Meek Mill performing during it. We had Victor Cruz there, Sheldon Richardson. Drake was actually backstage chilling. Antrell Roll was in the party. I mean, this was our party with Steiner Sports.
Jadeveon Clowney's picked number 1. He came to our party. Khalil Mack
came to
was
our
there.
party after he got picked. Oh my god, the party was off the chains.
Yeah, I think you were like 18 at the time anyway, so you wouldn't even be able to go.
If we threw that party now.
What year did Clowney go 1? 2015?
2014, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my
Man, that
senior
was a
year of high
long
school.
time
Yeah,
ago.
so I was 17.
We probably would have ended up coming anyway. Forget it.
Probably.
You know?
I've been sneaking into bars since I was 15. My parents are probably watching. I don't think they wanted to hear that, but they already knew. All right. Anyway, before I get myself in even more trouble, I think we should go.
I think so.
So we are, busy week, obviously. Free agency time's insane. So we're all active on Twitter. Obviously, the uSTADIUM account is active. If you are a Pats fan and you're not following me, you're missing out on some pretty good content. I will say, give myself a little shameless plug. I have been firing off some fire tweets and memes and shit like that the last couple of days. So it's BSP_13 for all my Pats fans out there. If you're not a Pats fan and you still follow me, that's cool. Just don't be an ass.
Just don't block her.
Yeah, don't talk shit and follow me because I will call you out.
Tixie's
I
the
wanna-
one.
I want to answer this.
Yes, go ahead.
Norman Powell's amazing. I've loved Norman Powell for a long time, and the fact that Big T brought him up just shows how real of a dude he is. Big shout outs, Big T. I really respect that. And follow Big T on the uSTADIUM app.
Grizzly bear or gorilla?
Ooh,
Who's quicker?
gorilla.
I think, believe it or not, a gorilla is definitely more like fierce, but I don't know. I'm gonna go with a gorilla too.
A gorilla can rip your arms off of your body.
Is this? I hope this isn't like something like a play on like the internet or something, and we're gonna end up like on memes or YouTube. But I'm gonna say a gorilla. What about you, Frank?
I'm thinking about if it was me versus Nick. Me half in the bag and Nick completely sober. Who would win? I think me.
I think you'd
No,
go down
a
easy.
gorilla would win. I think a grizzly bear is like
crazy,
significantly small. Yeah, gorillas are like
Gorillas are like
super.
the most fierce.
Do you
Yeah.
see gorillas climbing trees? A gorilla can climb a tree in like half a
bears,
second, and they start freaking roaming the jungle, tree to tree, branch to branch. They move there
Bears are
quick.
dumb. Bears, like gorillas, are smart. Bears, you can like play dumb and they like run away. So
Yeah, you play dead and they think.
I'm gonna give.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a gorilla for sure. For sure. R.I.P. Harambe. Okay, we're done.
I was